Welcome, dear friends, to the enchanting world of words, the Millennium Library. Here, memories take us back to warm nights where grandmothers and mothers wove the most wonderful tales. Our only wish now is for you to listen, to dive deep into the heart of the stories that shaped our minds and souls. We have embarked on this unique project, the Millennium Library, to gather for you a treasure trove of timeless novels and stories, and present them to you with voices full of warmth and sweetness. It is a legacy we are creating together between humanity and artificial intelligence to remain a testament to the power of words and the magic of storytelling throughout the ages. We hope you find in it what delights your souls and enriches your imagination. If this work touches your hearts, we would be delighted if you share it with your loved ones. And remember, your support lies in liking this segment and leaving your comments which illuminate our path. We are here to grow by you and with you. With sincere regards from the Millennium Library. The Bullfrog and the Crab. There was a Raja who had no head, and there was a tiger who had no tail. One day they met in a nullah. "Here's a fine dinner for me," said the tiger. "Here's a fine dinner for me," said the Rajah. At this retort, the tiger's courage oozed away, and he did not dare to go any nearer. But he called out, "Well, if I am to be your dinner, come and catch me." And the Rajah called out, "If I am to be your dinner, come and catch me." So they stood challenging each other, but neither took a step forward. Then the tiger became abusive and called out, "What have you done with your head?" The Rajah retorted, "What is a tiger without a tail? You also are short of a member. I may have no head, but I have more legs than you." The tiger could think of no retort to make to this, and so said, "Come, don't let us quarrel any more. Let us be friends. I live near here. Where do you live? My home is also near here. Then we are neighbors. There is no reason why we should be enemies." "Who knows what you are at?" answered the Rajah, "for you are pretending that you cannot see aright, but it is quite true that we are neighbors." "You are right," said the other. "I admit that I did wrong, and I bow down before you." So they saluted each other, and the tiger said, "Let's have a song to show what good friends we are." And he sang to the rice planting tune. The Frog King and the Frog Queen sat at their front door. The Frog King's marriage is going on. "Look, my master, the Frog King and the Frog Queen. The Frog King's marriage is going on." The hyena outwitted. Once upon a time there was a great tiger who lived in a forest, and all the other animals that lived in the forest treated him as their Rajah, down to the very birds. They all felt safe under his protection, because he was so much feared that no men dared hunt in that forest. One day it happened that this Rajah tiger killed a man and made such a enormous meal on the flesh that he got very bad indigestion. The pain grew worse and worse till he felt sure that his last hour was come. In his agony, he sent for a hyena and offered to make him his douan, if only he would call all the other animals of the forest to come and pay a farewell visit to their lord. The hyena readily agreed, but thought it would be better to send another messenger, while he stayed by the tiger to see that all the animals duly presented themselves. Just then a crow flew overhead, so they called him and deputed him to summon all the animals. The crow flew off, and in a short time all the animals assembled before the tiger, and paid their respects to him, and expressed wishes for his speedy recovery. All except the jackals. They had been summoned along with the others, but somehow they paid no attention, and only remembered about it in the afternoon. Then they were very frightened as to what would be the consequence of their remissness. But one chief jackal stood up and told them not to fear, as he would contrive a way of getting the better of the hyena. There was nothing else to be done, so they had to put what trust they could in their chief and follow him to the tiger. On his way, the chief jackal picked up a few roots and took them with him. When they reached the place where the suffering monarch lay, the hyena at once began to abuse them for being late, and the tiger also angrily asked why they had not come before. Then the chief jackal began humbly. "O Maharaja, we were duly summoned. Your messenger is not to blame, but we reflected that it was useless merely to go and look at you when you were so ill. That could do you no good. So we bestirred ourselves to try and find some medicine that would cure you. We have searched the length and breadth of the jungle and have found all that is necessary, except one thing, and that we have failed to find." "Tell me what it is," said the hyena, "and I will at once dispatch all these animals to look for it, and it will surely be found." "Yes," echoed the tiger. "What is it?" "Maharaja," said the jackal, "when you take these medicines, you must lie down on the fresh skin of a hyena, which has been flayed alive. But the only hyena we can find in the forest is your due." "The world can well bear the loss of one hyena," said the tiger. "Take him and skin him." At these words all the animals set upon the hyena and flayed him alive, and the tiger lay down on the skin and took the medicines brought by the jackal. And as he was not seriously ill, his pain soon began to pass away. "That is a lesson to the hyena not to scold us and get us into trouble," said the jackal, as he went home. The Crow and the Egret. A crow and a white egret once made their nests in the same tree, and when the nestlings began to grow up, the crow saw how pretty and white the young egrets were, and thought them much nicer than her own black young ones. So one day when the egret was away, the crow changed the nestlings and brought the little white egrets to her own nest. When the mother egret returned and found the ugly little black crows in her own nest, it did not take her long to see what had happened, and she at once taxed the crow with the theft. The crow denied all knowledge of the matter, and a fine quarrel ensued. Quarreling led to nothing, and they agreed to refer the dispute to the decision of a money-lender, whose house stood by the tree in which the two nests were. The crow, as the less shy of the two, flew down and asked the money-lender to come out and settle their dispute. The first question the money-lender asked was what they were going to give him. The egret promised to catch him a fine rohu fish, which was what she was accustomed to eat. But the crow said that she would give him a golden necklace. The moneylender said that the fees must be brought first, before he heard the case. So the egret flew off and caught a big fish, but the crow went to where a Rajah was bathing, and carried off the gold chain which the Rajah had left on the bank of the river. The moneylender then gave his decision, which was in favor of the party who had given him the most valuable present. He decided that the young birds must stay where they were. "But," protested the egret, "how have my white nestlings become black?" "That is quite natural," answered the moneylender. "A white cow may have a black or brown calf. Why should not you have black young ones?" And so saying, he drove them away. The poor egret was not at all content with this unjust decision, and was about to renew the quarrel, when a jackal came racing by. It had just made its escape from some hunters. "Where are you off to so fast, uncle?" called out the egret. "I am in arrears with my rent, and am hurrying to pay it to the Rajah," answered the jackal. "Stay and listen to my grievance," begged the egret, and she told the jackal all that had happened, and how the moneylender had let himself be bribed by the gold necklace. The jackal was very indignant. A man who could give a decision like that would call a buffalo, a bullock, or a pig, a sheep. "It is no decision at all. I cannot stop now, but I will come back tomorrow and decide the matter for you, and before doing so, I will stuff the mouth of that unjust judge with filth." So saying, the jackal hurried off. The moneylender heard all that passed, and was filled with shame at having earned the contempt of the jackal. He feared more disgrace on the morrow, so he at once called the crow, and made her return the egret's nestlings. And the next morning, when the jackal came back, it found that everything had been settled to the satisfaction of the egret. The Jackal and the Hare. A jackal and a hare were sworn friends. One day they planned to have a dinner of rice, cooked with milk. So the hare crouched down under a bush, which grew by the side of a road leading to a busy market, and the jackal stayed watching a little way off. Presently some men came along, taking rice to sell at the market. When they saw the hare by the side of the road, they put down their baskets of rice and ran to catch the hare. He led them a long chase and then escaped. Meanwhile, the jackal carried off as much of the unguarded rice as he wanted. By the same trick they got hold of milk, and firewood, and a cooking pot, and some leaf plates. Thus they had everything necessary for the meal, except fire. So the jackal ran off to a village, and went to the house of a poor old woman who was pounding dried plum fruit into meal, and asked her for a light. "Go into the house, and take a brand from the fire yourself," said the old woman. "No," said the jackal, "you go and get it, and I will pound your meal for you, while you are away." So the old woman went into the house, and while she was away, the jackal put filth into the mortar, and covered it up with meal. Then he took away the lighted brand, and after he had gone, the old woman found that all her meal was spoilt. Then the jackal cooked their rice and milk, and when it was ready, they began to discuss which should first go and bathe, before they began to eat. At last the jackal went off. He hurried over his bath and came back as quickly as possible. Then the hare went, and he spent a long time having a thorough bath. While the hare was away, the jackal ate as much of the rice as he wanted, and then filled the pot with filth and covered it over with rice. When the hare came back, they debated which should help the rice. At last they agreed that the hare should do so. But when the hare had taken out a little rice, he found the pot full of filth. So it is for this that I took all the trouble to get the provisions for our meal, cried the hare, and threw the contents of the pot over the jackal and drove him away. The jackal went off and made a drum, and every day he sat in the sun beneath a bank and played the drum. The hare heard the sound, and one day he went to the jackal and asked to be allowed to play the drum. The jackal handed it over, but the hare beat it and shook it so vigorously that at last it was smashed to pieces. Then the hare ran away. Conclusion of our journey. And so we reach the conclusion of our journey for today, within the unending worlds of words and the never folding pages of knowledge. We have spent an enjoyable and beneficial time together within the embrace of Millennium Library, where voices meet tales and a new cultural legacy is forged. We hope you have enjoyed every moment and delved deeply into the dimensions of the story or novel we presented to you. Always remember that this grand edifice, Millennium Library, is the result of a unique collaboration between human creativity and the profound depth of artificial intelligence. Our goal is to enrich your ears and minds with the treasures of world literature and to make knowledge accessible to everyone, while preserving the ownership rights of Millennium Library for this distinctive production. Don't forget to follow us and activate the notification bell to receive all new content. And share this podcast with everyone around you, for knowledge is light, and together we illuminate the paths. Until we meet again in a future episode and a new literary adventure, may you be in the care and keeping of Allah, and within the realm of immortal words. Millennium Library, where tales are embodied, knowledge is narrated, and creativity is immortalized.